Hello guys, welcome to SONM question and answer question. And first I would like to pass New Year greetings from the team and wish you best. Today we have Igor Lebedev, SONM CTO, and Eugen Manaev, SONM product owner. And we have lots of questions, and we will start from question from Arno X. When SONM is ready in August, how do companies buy SONM to buy computer power? Via exchanges is costly in fees. So will it be possible on SONM network itself? It's like how they can purchase the service?
Yeah, I think there would be different options. Well, internally this works on SONM tokens as we previously have defined it, but we are thinking about providing fiat gateways so that people would be able to buy this with other currencies. But this is still under estimations and no exact dates for this are yet revealed.
I have seen the question about PayPal. Is there any plans to integrate PayPal to buy and sell SONM tokens?
Plans, yes. Estimations, not yet.
Well, is there any...
This is still under research. We need to understand the legal base for this, which company would be running this, because currently we as a company, we are not part of the deals, and this is good for us. But if we would like to accept any payments, we would need some company to facilitate this. So this is still under some kind of research from the legal perspective.
So, and another point is that we are researching our markets, because there are several sides of the market. We can deal with enterprise side and with direct customers operations. So maybe enterprise side will be okay with some tokens, and okay, we will use them. And the fiat gateway is a thing that will provide additional costs for us and additional risks, as Igor just mentioned here. So we are researching this issue.
But it will simplify the process itself.
If we don't use fiat gateway.
Yeah, but you know, this is not only about our work under research or under estimation, because other companies could provide their gateways as well on their own. For example, any company can aggregate some resources, buying with cryptocurrency and then selling this off with some dollars or whatever. So this is not only on our site, it's available for anyone. If someone can implement a better or more effective or more profitable exchange gate for fiat currency, it's up to them to do this. So there are many options.
There is we have user that writes, please don't use PayPal, tired of their bullshit. Like,
you know,
not everybody likes it.
You know, even if we mention PayPal, it doesn't mean that this is only one option that we're considering. This is just an option that we can implement somehow.
Okay. The question, when marketing Pretty Girl, where is she?
Camila asked for some time to get into the business and into the...
Yeah, she's not ready. Now,
she will be in the next Q&A session in February. Currently, she's looking for what we have. I hope so.
And she's shy, so give her some time.
You know, as someone in the internet mentioned, because this is the internet, there is no place for shy, or there is no place for some other things.
Okay.
She just asked for some time.
Okay. Hey guys, what about platform on Windows, not mainly on Linux?
Okay, let me handle the question.
Okay.
So we released, as you know, we released the MVP version in December. It's MVP release candidates, and it didn't support Windows known for supplier side, known for customer side. But the next release that is going to be in January or early February, it will certainly support Windows as a client side. There were some issues in our software that prohibit us to implement it, to release it in December, but it's on the way to the public. So Another question is support for supplier side, for support for Windows. These questions is rather complex because we started to use Docker, and it's not so ready to be used under Windows. So there are some architectural technical questions that we need to solve. Still, we elaborated some market requests, and we understand that Windows is a very huge part of our market, of our partners. Many rendering and even machine learning projects involve Windows users and Windows resources to be used. So I think I'm sure that Windows suppliers, Windows hubs and Windows workers are on our roadmap, but yeah, they will be implemented not earlier than in summer. Still, if we get along with some business that is very interested in us and it's and it wants to use Windows, I think we will change our roadmap and we can tune this to start a real business with such guys who use Windows. Actually, our platform is very
flexible.
Yes, it's very flexible.
Abstracted.
Yeah, abstracted. We have a component that is responsible for market, and it uses blockchain, but it can be abstracted from blockchain and be transferred to another blockchain technology. And we have a component that is responsible for implementation of resource management. And this component now runs on Docker, but it can be changed to say Hyper-V or OpenStack or maybe KVM technology, so we can run process under Windows and manage them.
Which hypervisors do you see as the most promising at this moment, except for Docker?
I can't just choose one, because if we talk about Windows, then obviously Hyper-V is the most straightforward solution, because it's supported by Microsoft as a developer of Windows.
And because it supports GPUs.
Yeah, and it's
not to mention, because this is important.
Yeah.
And you just moved me slightly to the next question. What the top 10 companies with which you would like to conclude a partnership? What's your personal
Any
view?
ideas?
Oh.
Well, you know, as
top 10.
No, top 10. Taking some experience in my life in the software development companies, I can say that we are making, in some degree, a product for software development companies, or the companies that use some applications on their side, and making partnership or working with software development companies that can use our platform in many different projects for different customers would be very beneficial for us. But of course, if we can get a partnership from Google or Amazon, that would be great as well. But I just don't think this is feasible, because we are doing something that they are doing, but in a different manner. So I think the real probabilities are working with software developers. We can take, for example, top 10 global software developments like chart, or we can take top 10 software development companies in any particular country, and this would be our best effort and best interest to do with them. We are already trying to build some partnerships with software developers, because this is most essential for us. These are potential clients for our platform. This is the most important at this moment. I would not mention any names, because this is not really important, the brands or names. We just need some kind of profile of a company. We need software developers, and we need software users that run applications somewhere on the cloud hosting. I think this way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because we are going to implement some kind of platform, and we need a strong community of partners who are developing software using SONM platform, and who like such things as Docker containers and microservices architectures, and they are willing to implement it.
Yeah.
We have the last question from Ivan's Bar. Okay, why you are better than Golem? Why?
We've already.
Are you better?
We are different.
Okay,
The answer is that we are different. It's hard to compare us because we provide different services to different groups of people. So we cannot say that we are better or that we are worse than that, for example, particularly Golem, because we are different. And we've covered this question in the previous Q&A session, by the way. Let's just not talk about this at this moment.
Yeah. Can you create the biggest separate mining farm on the world?
Yes, we can. We will accumulate a lot of hashing power, and it depends on how we would use it. The current understanding is that we will have it free for the market, and there would be some actors on this market. Some of them would be provided by us, but some of them could be other people that will rent this hashing power for whatever reasons they need. And if one party can rent most of the hardware with hashing power and connect it to one dedicated mining pool, it could be the biggest mining pool when we have enough miners. This is technically possible.
Okay, the next question is about hardware. What hardware should I buy for nodes, Xeon or Ryzen? What do you think, DDR3 RAM or DDR4?
Okay, let me handle the question.
Will be Ampere or Volta supported? Cheers. AstroZone sent this question.
Okay. Dear AstroZone, so basically, SONM is a marketplace for power. So if we talk abstract, the better hardware you have, the more money you can get for renting out your resources. But as soon as we understand that the most hardware that will be provided for SON are miners, they are mining rigs and domestic miners that use home PCs with GPUs. So actually, the primary use cases that we are seeking are the use cases that use GPUs. So the better GPU you use, the better, more money you can get. It's just like mining. But there are some applications that use not only GPUs, and we consider that this application will give you, as a miner, SON miner, more money than just raw mining. These applications, as we mentioned earlier in our previous Q&A sessions, are machine learning, rendering, big data, and other compute-intensive applications. These applications use not only GPUs, but they involve also CPU and network input-output and disk storages and of course random access memory. So if we look at if we talk about rendering, we can see that there are different requirements and different approach to build a rendering farm rig to make rendering effective. It differs from constructing a mining rig. These mining rigs, these rendering rigs, they involve better CPUs. It should be the best CPU you can afford. Some rendering rigs use 2 Xeon GPUs or even more. This is enterprise grade actually. They use plenty of RAMs. They need plenty of RAMs. They start from, I think, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and this is requirement to host real big tasks for rendering. And of course, it should be DDR4 RAM because it improves performance greatly than DDR3.
Mm-hmm. Will it work on DDR3?
Yeah, it will work. It's a matter of performance. So different tasks will require different hardware, and moreover, they can run slower hardware, but you will earn less money than if you had more power. So the question is, it's a market question where there will be proportion between your investment and incomes. So at the moment, this proportion is not so obvious. We are going to start this. When the market will start, we will see which hardware will be more profitable.
Yeah.
If we talk about, if we remember mining market, there were also some rumors which hardware will be better or will not. And at the moment, everyone understands that, for example, GeForce 1070 is better than, say, Tesla M60. But when mining started, no one understood that. So we need some time so the market can reach some stable prices and stable profits. So we can precisely say that this particular hardware is better than another. At the moment we are at the beginning of this way and we can't answer this question.
Any recommendations on the GPU vendor?
Oh, thanks. That's a good question. Yeah, thanks, Igor. If we talk about mining, everyone knows that red AMD GPUs are better because they're considered more profitable at the moment. Yeah. But if we go out of this world of mining, we go to real computations, then of course NVIDIA is better than AMD. Because just CUDA started earlier, NVIDIA started the CUDA and compute-intensive applications and computer-intensive platform earlier, and it's more feature-rich, and it enables more possibilities to implement complex data processing. So obviously, if we talk about rendering, if we talk about machine learning, if we talk about big data, NVIDIA is more preferable than AMD.
Yeah, still green NVIDIA cards, they can mine and they can solve machine learning tasks. They can basically do any kind of task. While at this particular moment, AMD cards are limited to mining according to our research. Yeah,
there are some, for example, rendering applications, for example, Blender that supports OpenCL and that supports AMD cards for rendering. But it's a very rare case. If we talk about professional renderers such as Redshift, Octane, and V-Ray, their support of AMD is very is minimal or even no support. So if we talk about, for example, machine learning, TensorFlow, Keras, and other software, they also support NVIDIA and via CUDA. They don't support OpenCL.
Okay.
So if you have NVIDIA, you will have more customers and better prices for your hardware.
So green
at
is
the moment.
better.
Green.
Yeah,
green is our color. Guys, look, here in the chat we have people that talking about Daddy. It's like they copy-pasted our white paper. And what do you think about it?
Should we talk about this?
I don't think so.
Well, there is a company that is preparing an ICO. It's
I heard
called
it.
Daddy. Yes, we can talk about this. And there was an example of some copy paste from our white paper, and this was.
I learned it from Telegram chat. Somebody.
Yeah, okay, but anyway, it was confirmed from their site, and they made they asked for excuse, and they, as I know, they changed it. So. Okay, there was such an incident.
Yeah, this case exists. Okay, go.
So it showed that our white paper was
good.
Yeah, it was good, and
good
everyone
idea.
loves it. Even
okay. About last Q&A, where is the top 10 exchange in the next few days? So it's like Eugenio told about top 10. It was FX, actually.
You know, I don't think we can command the exchanges because this is mostly on their site, and I don't think we will promote listing on any exchanges. I mean that promising these things, at least from my side, but as I know, we were listed on the OKEX exchange, and this was considered as one of the top exchanges at the moment of saying that. So I think it's done.
Okay, let's go forward. We have lots of questions here and from Slido,
Yeah.
and I will continue with Slido. Have you considered completing in Kaggle and other machine learning competitions to advertise your technology to the machine learning community?
Okay, yeah, let's try to handle this.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thanks. So what's actually Kaggle? Just for those guys who don't understand it. So Kaggle is a worldwide competition for machine learning enthusiasts. So some sponsors or some partners of Kaggle, they provide some real tasks for machine learning. They provide data to train some networks, neural networks, and the participants, they compete in implementing these networks in the most optimized way. So actually, this is a story not about renting resources. It's a story about developing some machine learning models. Actually, it's not the thing that we are doing here. We are building some kind of platform, and it's infrastructure as a service platform. And if you want to implement your own, if some participant wants to implement his model using and train it using SONM network, he is welcome. So TensorFlow and Keras and other software can be run on top of SONM network. The guy can buy some good GPUs, for example, 1080 Ti.
But GPUs are good for machine
yeah,
learning, right?
they are used for such kind of tasks. So actually, if you are running, if you're developing such model, you need some GPU, and SONM can provide it, and you can run your model using SONM. That's the way we can go. If someone wants to, I can't understand how could we take part in this competition. Actually, it's not our
SONM is too wide to make this.
Okay, let's compete. How could you implement some site? For example, some internet shop on top of some host provider. It's a strange story, actually.
Yeah, I think we can consider these competitions from the marketing perspective as soon as we solve more important tasks, and the more important task is to find a real world client for machine learning, because this is really the most important and essential. We are completely focused on finding these customers, and today we had a meeting with one company, a software development, that are willing to use one use case, one business case of machine learning on top of SONM network, and we will research this opportunity, and perhaps in the upcoming weeks we may have a press release about some successful first partnership with a real software development with machine learning. I think this is more essential, more important. And after we have a portfolio of clients already using SONM, we may go and participate into some gaming contests on top of SONM, but this is as a second step. This is fine, this is interesting, that these competitions have name, and we should use them to spread info about SONM, but first we need clients.
Okay, the most burning question, and it's not about Lambo. How successful was the performance of the testnet?
By the way, you can answer yourself. You took part. Vitaly took part in the.
Yeah, I took part in the test.
Yeah, let me introduce you. Vitaly was monitoring the current state of the testnet and of the testing, and he has the numbers with him. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I got some deals on the testnet, and it works. I can confirm it.
How many people did take part in the
How many people?
Yeah.
It's hard to count how many people,
Yes, exactly.
real persons.
Yes.
But we can count emails that had submitted on a website, and we can count number of Ethereum wallets that took part in the test.
Yeah. So what are the numbers about emails and Ethereum? I think we can
numbers about emails. We got more than 1,000. Suppliers and about 2,000 customers.
Emails,
yeah.
For,
yeah, those people wanted to take part in the test.
How many people actually? Okay, how many unique Ethereum addresses really took part in?
Unique. We just made a contest, and we tried to take 50 first. Suppliers and 50 first customers or consumers. And we just finished this last week. It's like 100.
Okay.
Maybe now it's maybe more. I don't know.
So Vitaly is the guy who counted everyone.
Yeah.
And who will be rewarded.
And I actually took part in the test. This is my laptop and it's MacBook, and I have installed the virtual machine and Ubuntu, and through the console terminal I have installed a customer node and made some purchases. Got some tech, Ethereum keys. I got the wallet. I got the
test
tokens, test Ethereum, all this part. And and I found it complicated. I'm a geeky person, believe me. I know how to program, how PHP works and this kind of stuff, but it was kind of complicated.
Yeah, indeed, this is true.
It's for geeks now.
At this moment, yes, but there is a reason for behind this. We were developing really fast. We were changing architecture on the go, and it really took about 4 months from the scratch, from the writing requirements and defining architecture to compiling the final product and making tests. We did it in 4 months, and we didn't have really time to make a graphical user interface, which would be our next step, but we already released the wallet. But still, current work with marketplaces using the command line interface with your fingers. So I think the complexity is about that, and also about the installation, because we really can and will automate it, like to use package manager for Linux, and there are a lot of ways to make this more easier. We just did not really have time for this, but we will do this in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah, and I can give some recommendations how to simplify the process.
Yeah, I think we will listen to this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And guys, I can tell that it will work. Even in this state, it works. But if we add some graphical interface, it will be easy as a click.
Of course, yes. We will simplify the installation, we will simplify the configuration, and of course graphical user interface, especially from the client side, from the person that will purchase the computing powers, we will really simplify this, but in the upcoming times. Currently we already have some architecture, we have already some APIs that is stabilized. We will change some things, but we are now ready to implement graphical interface for this.
Just another question, Vitaly. Are you going to reward yourself for this huge job?
Okay.
Did you exclude your Ethereum address?
Yeah, from this top 50 persons.
No.
No. But anyway,
I'm on the list. I'm on the list of top 50 customers and top 50 suppliers. Actually, yes, because to make a supplier node, I had to rent a web server. No, not web server, just a dedicated server. I couldn't do this from my notebook. I had to rent a computer with IP address and make all this stuff there. And I spent about 1 day to make it work. Yeah. All this thing.
But anyway, to be honest, it was not Vitaly's work duty to do this. He did this for his own education in his free time, so he is considered as a fair participant. No, you had some unfair, unfair help from perhaps if you did you use some help?
Yes,
Some tricks,
I have used Alexander, our
Alexander
programmer.
helped us,
Yeah. He made some simplifying. for
But
me.
anyway, Vitaly is a contributor. He reported a couple of bugs, so this is okay.
So the test was really useful. We have really huge amount of reports and we keep working on it. It will improve all this.
Yeah, basically, if someone wonders, I can report the numbers. We have a number of like 20 or 30 open bugs after the public testing, and part of them are already closed and resolved, but our plans for January is to stabilize this version, to fix all the open issues, and we will have really already stable release like after public testing, and we are going to work with this release with partners after all public bugs are found.
Okay. Actually, I like the MVP and how it works. The Ethereum, the deals, and it really fast.
You got a smell of this
Yes,
cryptocurrency
yeah.
business just deep inside.
And I'll get my 200 SNM.
Yeah, you know, the functionality may seem simple, but it really works at this moment because there were a lot of small tasks, but they are already solved. This already works on Ethereum. This already works as a marketplace. There are bid and ask orders. It matches somehow the orders. That orders are placed on the blockchain and they checked from the blockchain. And this works in the general. This is good.
Okay.
We are really far from the moment that we already have a white paper. We currently have some part of the system already operational. This part is the basic, is the fundament of our later development. And if someone wonders, from now on we will have some separate branches of development. One would be doing the platform at the basic thing, like the infrastructure, the service, and we will have another application-specific development branches where people will develop some practical examples on how to use web hosting, on how to use rendering or machine learning. For example, Eugenio is doing a practical case for Eugen. Yes, sorry.
Eugenio is another place.
Eugen is currently doing practical case for rendering, and we already have some other branches.
Yeah.
Yes. So
by the way, I've committed Redshift renderer Docker, which can render some tests or your own sense to the allowed list of Docker containers allowed to run on some hubs. So everyone is welcome to try. You can just export your scene from Cinema 4D or Autodesk to Redshift file with all textures that should be packed in one archive, zip or tar gz, and it should be, at the moment there are some constraints that you should send it to some public web source, and then you can start some task for rendering this scene and get results.
I think there is a possibility to make a script. Like
yes.
You download it, you just click on it, and the script
exactly.
goes. The Docker
will
installs and all the stuff installs, and you're just waiting. Okay.
Will you able to make a promise that we can make commercial renderer operational in SONM with the ability to split the work over a number of nodes?
Yes, we at the moment we were developing some prototype for, say, worldwide rendering farm. There is a business in rendering market that is responsible for providing resources for rendering. This business is called rendering farms. There are plenty of rendering farms in the world, and many of them provide just CPU rendering, some provide GPU rendering abilities. So at the moment we are building a prototype for such rendering farm that will use some resources, and we will use commercial software to build this farm. We will use Redshift render, maybe V-Ray, maybe other renderers that support GPUs. and these renderers will run some nodes. They will be these resources will be bought by customers.
Can they work in parallel?
Yeah, they can work parallel. And
how can that be achieved?
And there is a class of software that is responsible for splitting tasks and managing these number of nodes that run renderings. This software is called Render Farm Manager. For example, there are some open source render farm manager, for example, Afanasi, and there are some commercial render farm managers such as Deadline. And at the moment we are building this demo case using Deadline and Redshift, and I hope we will show this to the community and to potential customers in the rendering market, so they can understand how to use SONM for their rendering and how to buy resources for very low prices and to make their business more profitable than using Amazon and Google or their on-premises hardware.
Yeah, so just to recap, we actually have a number of development branches that are apart from the platform development, and we don't yet announce all of them because we handle the risks. If those all cases are researches, and if they are successful, we will announce them. But if they will, for some cases, for some reasons, fail, we just don't lose our reputation saying we will do and then we don't do it. So, but at this moment, I think we can say that we will do a rendering with a commercial renderer with a function of loading work in parallel, and this can be done with the existing software. The beautiful thing is that the software already exists for this, and you don't need to use Blender or Lux Renderer or modify it with your own software developers. You can just use the existing commercial software, and this is the software that people are willing to pay money for. For example, the software Eugene mentioned, this is already used by professionals, and we would like to make a test case, like a showcase, that how could it work on top of SONM, and then let other people build business on top of this, because they can easily get resources from SONM and use it for their beneficial. This is it. Okay, guys, I found a really nice question in YouTube chat from Sami Azem. We had a talk about this today. Would there be higher monetary gains per unit processed for offering a larger dedicated computing pool? I can say that this will almost fully depend on the market demand and supply, because we are not defining the price, we are building the marketplace, and the marketplace will contain the suppliers and the people who will use it, the clients. So the prices would be the balance of request, of demand and supply. So if we find that people would request a lot of big resources, like with big number of cores, and the supply would be low, then the prices would be high. This is just a market. So I think we can make some prediction for this, because we will have a lot of small devices but a limited supply of bigger resources, and perhaps the demand for them would be greater, and perhaps some people would be willing to pay for them with a greater sum of money.
Yeah, but what about reliable hubs and dedicated pools? Is they are reliable and they have no errors and
the reliability has different projection of our project. For example, first we have different hubs, and some of them are branded, like some cloud hosting companies will provide their hardware, and this hardware would be really reliable and trusted from the terms of privacy and from any other senses. This would be really
like Mining Union. Or
Mining Union is a different case, like Selectel or any other
professional provider.
Professional
branded
hardware that are selling this as a cloud. Because Mining Union, they are using this for their internal usage, but still this is in some degree reliable. But I mean the reliability of the professional hardware at cloud providers. For example, we not only Selectel, we had some talks with another company. We did not yet announce a press release, but we will in the upcoming days. I think they have some excessive hardware which they buy for their own usage, but they would like to monetize it, like the excessive amounts. and they also have engineers, so they have reliability and privacy. So we would have some really trusted hardware, and still we will have the hardware on the people's computers, and we will provide software solutions to handle the reliability at the machines, like the reputations, the rating system, the periodic spot checks, and other things that will ensure that this would work in reliable.
Yeah, we even can include a real functioning supercomputer in the network.
It doesn't matter, even them, if they handle Linux, because currently at this moment we support Linux and we are thinking about Windows, but you know, some supercomputer architectures, they're running some like unique operating systems and sometimes unique even CPU architecture, and they have some completely different software stacks that is capable of running on them. But still they have virtual machines support there, so this is possible, but this is a matter of additional research.
I think we can just handle the question about enterprise features, because we answered most of these.
Okay, will there be some level support for enterprise features, failover, replication, snapshot, backup, load balancing? Will it be able to run 100 terabytes monolithic database?
So
it's even interesting for me.
Yeah, it's actually this question is about market. If there will be suppliers who provide such kind of 100 terabytes PC or server, then yes, okay, you will be able to run this such huge task on this hardware. If not, then you will not be able to.
Is it available on the market
at the moment?
Yeah,
no.
100 terabytes.
No.
But
if we connect some supercomputer or enterprise grade computer,
that has this
yes, you still will be able to run.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's possible.
But you know, not many applications run such a big database, and I think if you have 100 terabyte monolithic database like running with Oracle or Microsoft SQL Server, I honestly think that running it in the fog is not really the most efficient thing you can do, because if you have that great number of monolithic data of like SQL database, I think you'd better have it near you, because then the time that you will spend just uploading or downloading such a great amount of data or just rolling your backups would take a lot of time. So I think our system is not for such great numbers of monolithic database. I think we can talk about replicated or spread that databases, like for example Greenplum, which use sharded approach. This is more interesting for us because we have a distributed thing, but monolithic 100 terabytes, I don't think this is about us at this moment. Yeah. Perhaps it's if after 2 years the 100 terabytes would be the size of a typical hard disk, that would be possible for us, but not at this moment, I think.
Okay, guys, we have a question about the latest partnerships. What is SONM going to do with Open4 Consortium and Cloud 28 Plus? What's the main goal of joining these groups?
Okay, let me try to handle it.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Open4 Consortium is a consortium that major folk computing players build to introduce some standards and to introduce some protocols and APIs that will help all the industry of distributed computing to be synchronized and to understand each other, and not too deep into some proprietary solutions, so that it will be really distributed. So we consider this Open4 Consortium as a good opportunity to promote our ideas that we're going to implement in SONM, and to make them align with other players, big players in the industry. so we can interact with them easily in some functions. And for example, if this open fork consortium is able to develop some standards for resource management, we can use them. So
we got the person who is relaxing when he's listening us. Just amazing. If I hear these guys talking there, I feel so relaxed.
Sorry. Sorry.
And the heart. Thank you.
Thanks.
No. We will keep you relaxed.
Yeah.
Nothing bad.
So it's about for computing, open for consortium. So the main idea is that we would like to align our ideas with the other major players in the fork computing market, and to promote our ideas so we can easily implement real distributed computations that will spread worldwide.
Okay, thank you. We have well, the end product will be apps for sale purchase of capacity, right? And as it would be simple for the average user, it's like, are we going to simplify the interface and this kind of stuff? Of course we are.
But what kind of the average user? Because
who is this?
We are not selling, like, we are not renting flats, or we are not selling milk. We are selling computational powers.
Not even bananas.
But who needs computational powers? Some people who at least have
many computational powers.
Yeah, and some specific, not to mention,
computing, yes.
Some specific computational powers. Who needs them? At least this is a person that runs some applications and they know how to run them. Mm-hmm. This is a person who can decide which cloud hosting they can use in this year. So at least this is a application owner, but in a greater sense, this is a software developers. So this is not really the average person. One of the reasons that we are not afraid to provide our MVP with the support for command line without graphical user interface is that we clearly understand that the public for this platform is the software developers and people running software. And if they don't run it on SONM, they run it on the typical hostings, where you use SSH, you use it to connect to Linux machines, and you're practically doing almost the same things. So,
and I did it as well.
Who is the average user? Like, this is not about milk or bread. This is some specific, like.
But there are users who are suppliers.
Yes.
Yes.
And many of them, they just know very little ideas about computing and mining.
Look, to run miner on your hardware, you have to install the software and make it work. And as I know, it's not as simple as to install, I don't know, some application.
Okay.
It's also a console.
There are some software that is very easy to install.
Yes, indeed. There are examples of software that can let you share your computing powers, like your free computing powers. But I think that there are no free powers. But this is another case. The reason behind this is that we don't afraid that we have some complexity for installing, because the economic model for which we have on our market for our deals is that as a supplier, you guarantee to provide some specific computing power for some specific amount of time. And this is not something you can just install in this evening and tomorrow switch off, and the day after tomorrow switch it on again. This is not what we are doing. We are doing the system that allows you to rent out some resources with some level of guarantee. And to provide guarantee, you will have to provide a backup power supply. You will need to think that your hardware is reliable enough. You don't need to work on that hardware in the free time because it should be dedicated. So there are some, to make this reliable from you as a supplier, you will have to do some special measures. And this is again not for average user, but they're not really hard. You just need a backup power supply. You need, for example, a second light of the internet. If you want to earn money, you will need to have reputation. If you want to have reputation, you will have to provide reliability. And to do this, you have to provide backups for what you supply. So we could do a software that can be installed on Windows with a single click, and then you have, as we mentioned in the previous Q&A session, and have a slider. So you come tomorrow and you put the slider down and you play a game, and then you go to work and you put the slider up again. But this is not how SONM market works. You provide the resource for some specific time, and this must be guaranteed. If it's not guaranteed, we cannot handle the payloads we're aiming for. We are aiming for payloads that need some dedicated resources, some dedicated time, and that are assured. And unless we provide it as an assured way, we cannot handle it. So this is about our examples from different projects. We try to provide some other offerings, the offerings that you can count on.
Yeah, the customer's requirements is not about your comfort. It's about their.
It's about your obligations. It's about your assurance. It's about guarantees. It's about earning money. It's about business. Like, it's for serious. It's not games like moving a slider. The people would be counting on these resources for their real-world application. This is not a game.
That's the difference between SONM and ordinary plain mining, because if you just mine something, you can switch this mining off and just maybe not earn this money that you could, but nothing will be broken if you just turn off mining.
But you know, I have a lot of friends that are mining cryptocurrency, and I tried it myself, and what I learned from this is that even it is easy to install a miner. It's really easy, just a matter of downloading one software and just registering on a mining pool. But people that have invested some millions of whatever currency into mining, and they have at least 10 mining rigs, be sure that these kind of people, they're very focused on providing reliability for their own works, because whenever their hardware fails while they're at work or they're on the vacation, whenever the hardware fails, they're not earning money and they're not getting back their investment. So the people that are working with mining, they are providing backup power supplies, they're making sure this is reliable. Because if it is not reliable, they lose money, and losing money is not something they go for. These people carefully count money they invested in the hardware. So in this comparison, we are just asking them to do the same. This is about obligations, not about comfort.
Yeah. The question from Emil Samsarov, I think he's a Russian, but somehow. Okay, what about electronic government based on SONM? So,
what about electronic government based on first VDS or some other? Like,
no.
It's a website, right?
You know, it doesn't matter. You know, a couple of things like governments, banks. This is not a thing that we are focused on. No, neither we are thinking about. If someone wants to build some kind of system, whatever system on top of SONM, as a customer, he is welcome to do this. But this is not a topic that we are focused on. If someone likes, please welcome.
We just provide a platform for your applications. We just provide hardware for your application.
Whatever they are, but they should be legal. And
so our main target is to make this platform universal, so you can just run any application that you can run on cloud, and that's all.
But it is important that whenever country you reside, because this is a global system, you must obey with your local laws, and you must just do what is promised or what is like not prohibited.
I'm reading the chat. Okay, we still got lots of questions. Yeah,
we can just speed it up, I think.
Okay, speed
just
it up.
Blitz.
I will. Okay, let's say I want to leverage your network's computer resources to run augmented reality applications, which requires near real-time processing. Assuming that your network has the resources to support the application locally and can meet the low latency requirements, how does your network guarantee that the processing will be done by those nodes nearest to the requester in order to meet the latency requirements? It's
okay, this is interesting.
It's a good question. Thank you.
Yes.
Justin Brown, shoot it out.
This question is about a practical example, one of the use cases for practical usage. And what we have a marketplace. This marketplace allows you to find local resources. For example, it would be able for you to search by the country or for some geolocation first. Then second, you will have some tools provided by us later to search by the network connectivity, like for latency. So there would be some tools to find the appropriate host nodes in the SONM network. But whatever you do next is up to your application. If you need some good latency, you just need to carefully select the nodes, and then your application should handle it. I think that as far as we are going to have nodes all over the world and in different internet service providers, it will be possible for you to find a node locally somewhere inside your city with some local internet traffic, like on optic networks and fast traffic with low latency. It would be possible to find such. So as soon as you find such one, it's up to your application to handle the latency, to handle whatever practical needs you have.
So it's a matter of market to find the exact nodes that will fulfill your requirements.
Yeah, and it was mentioned a question about the guarantees. How do we guarantee? When there is an offer on the market that promises you some level of network, that must be guaranteed by the host, and we will perform some spot checks from time to time. This is a part of the system that is currently under work, but it will be implemented until our release in the summer. So there would be some automated checks, as well as you will have an option to say that the speed was not provided, so I complain. So there would be different options to control this and to complain, to raise an issue. So, but this would be guaranteed and handled by the market and the facilities around it. The rest is up to your application.
Thank you. I'll pick some questions from YouTube chat, and it's about legal tasks, illegal tasks. If there is a legal issue, whose jurisdiction will it fall under? The customers or the sellers? And the second, if a customer wants to use SONM for botnet, then task will be stopped, or when he send illegal task. Like what we're gonna do with illegal tasks?
Okay, I will just provide some ideas that we are going to implement in the nearest future. So we are very considered. First of all, we think a lot about the security and about legal issues for our suppliers, because it's a supplier problem if some customer runs some illegal application on his site, and it's even worse because this application can be not illegal in the country where the customer resides, and it can become illegal if he runs these applications on the supplier's customer. So the main idea that we are implementing is that if the anonymous person is not able to run any tasks, he is able to run only the limited number of tasks. It's so-called allowed list that is already implemented actually in our EVP testnet. Everyone can see it in our GitHub repository. So only containers from this of this list, this whitelist, can be run on supplier's site by anonymous customer. The second option that we are implementing in the nearest future is KYC for customers. Every customer can, it's his own, it's not mandatory, but still he can perform a KYC, so he will be identified by some of our partners, and such kind of client becomes identified, and he can run any task on supplier's side. And when some problems, illegal problems arise for this task he ran, so everyone knows who is responsible for running this task, so he will be so he will be punished, or he will be
Punishment.
yeah, he will jailed or gulagged, as written as our son.
Yeah, well, what do you think about
paper.
punishment and gulag sending persons?
You know, I don't think we should mention politics because these topics could be political. But anyway, people need to understand that whatever actions they take, they should take responsibility for them. And as Eugene mentioned, we will have some support for anonymous usages, but they would be limited in the custom code executions. They would not be able to execute any kind of custom code. Only, for example, you will be able to run mining without passing identification, because mining requires you to launch a whitelist container. You will only need to provide your identificator on the mining pool. But if you would like to run any kind of custom code, anything that can potentially compromise the host that runs this, you will have to provide your identification. Or there could be hubs that don't care about this if the countries where they live, if the countries that they allow this opportunity. But this is up to hub. By default, we will have, this would be something that is configurable on the hub, and by default, this will require like the identification from the customer if you would like to run the custom code. This can be switched off if someone would like to do this, but we will not recommend doing this. So if you run something malicious, like something prohibited in someone's jurisdiction, you will just understand that the legal risks are on your side, because from inside the SONM network, there would be some third-party providers that will perform identifications, and they will have your private data about who you are. This would not be disclosed to everyone, but in case some legal law, like in some country, would ask who is that, and some issues would be, the system will be able to find the person who is in charge of that.
Okay, guys, marketing plans for the next half a year. There is lots of question about announcement and marketing, and what I want to say, guys, we're not going to say any announcement now, because it's like when we have an announcement, we publish it in our official channels. And this question answer session is not for this. In case of marketing plans, now we have we have enough suppliers, and we are going to concentrate on customers and looking for companies that want to use SONM. Is it right?
Yes, exactly. I think that my own estimation is that this year, the 2018, would be the year of partnership and find the clients, because our most important focus and the most real thing we can do is to find clients for our platform, and we will focus all of our activities to this, and I will make everything I can to enforce this vision, because if we have clients, if we have enough demand for our resources, for our marketplace, everything else would be with us. So we will focus on this. As you already know from our chats, we already have new person for our marketing activities, and this is not the only acquisition of people that we're also awaiting some other people to join our company. I cannot disclose you any details about this, but as soon as they are with us, you will know about this. So the plans are great. We have a lot of activities in our schedule, and we will tell about them when the time comes. But this would be the year of partnerships and finding clients. This is all our dedication will be pointing to this direction.
Some guys want us to get listed on Bitfinex and exchanges.
I don't think we will comment listing on any exchanges, because we have a utility token that this is dedicated for buying resources on our platform, and from that point of view, listing on exchanges is not an activity we can give any promises or any other comments on this topic.
Okay, another question, it's about dividends. So somebody wanted us to talk about dividends.
About dividends, we have established a documentation portal about SONM, and many topics are covered there, including our token and the marketplace. And the current understanding of the dividends is the following. First, currently we don't have any kind of dividends or fees, and we have utility token. This is first. Second, we are considering different options, including different options, yes. And there are some things that we would like to implement, but this should not threaten the status of utility token of SONM. This
it should stay utility.
It should not be in any question.
Security.
This is not yes, we are developing just a utility token. This is no way can be questioned. And current understanding is that we can implement some reward for hubs for running some special tasks that require a lot of trust for them and a lot of dedication. Like in some degree, this is kind of proof of stake nodes in the different blockchain, but not the same. Not the same because we will need to make some spot checks. We will need to make some distributed, like other kind of checks, and this would be handled by the most dedicated hubs, as we currently see this. And those hubs possibly will have a reward. I say possibly because this is not yet decided. And that would be the only, as we currently see, is the only kind of rewards for doing something special in SONM. But this would require the hub maintainer to provide his hardware, to set it up, to earn trust, and to do some work.
It's the main reason why he will get.
Yes, he will get rewards for his work, just the same as he is, the same reward as he is receiving for renting out his hardware. Just the next level of rewards.
So
this is the current level of understanding. This is not a promise. We are considering different options, but at this moment, this is it.
What is legal action that SONM is taking against plagiarism and data ICO? We've already commented this.
I don't think
legal
we
action.
We just won't comment this at this moment. We have different opinions inside the team, and this is not the topic we will comment at this moment. But as our CEO mentioned, he was consulting with his layer about possible actions, but this is not settled, and we will not comment this.
Okay. The next question is about virus code. What you gonna do if somebody runs a virus code on the worker node or hub node? We had this question.
Yes.
It's the same actually, the same question
It's
about
same
malicious
question.
software.
It's about know your customer feature, right?
Yes, there is important thing that we will not check by ourselves that some code has or has not viruses, because this is not on our side. But if someone is using SONM, he must understand that whenever he uses custom code, his identity is known. Otherwise, he could not be able to use custom code unless he passes identification. And if he do that, he will take the risks of running viruses. So.
But if we talk about our allowed list, white list of our images, I think we will check we will perform some sort of check for
the whitelist consists of images that we currently provide on our own, but we are not limited to this, and from some time partners will provide these images as well. But we consider this code base to be trusted and secure from any vulnerabilities or any viruses.
Some sort of app store. It should be implemented as Apple implemented its App Store model. So not anyone. It's not a whitelist. Is not something that anyone can just
freely access and do whatever he likes. This is not that case.
Okay, thank you. The next question is about Etherium Network.
Yes.
That is becoming more and more slow and expensive.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be better to move SONM to IOTA, ARC, or other platform that has mining and this KT story?
A couple of things. First, Ethereum really works. This is one of the, in the crypto world, this is one of the top production systems because it really works and it handles the kitties and ICOs and whatever you can imagine. And it really works, and it indeed has some problems, but the people who are working there, they're handling them and they're developing some approaches, and we really like the proposed solutions, but we still need to wait for them to implement the solutions, and currently we have some time yet for them to develop the solutions. Talking about other projects and possible switch to them, you know, any kind of switch must have a good reasoning behind this, because currently we already have a working smart contracts, as I already mentioned in the chat. We already talked about this. We already have people who know how to work with Ethereum. We know what to expect from it. This is really something we can handle. At least we know how to work with this. And if we even consider to switch into any other blockchain project, just it will cost us some work efforts. This is not zero costs. We will have to rewrite things, and if we choose the same like or compatible smart contracts platform, the migration would be easier. If we choose system with not Turing complete smart contracts, it will be some more work to do to rewrite things, to rewrite logic. This will have some bespoke development efforts, and to do this we must have good reasoning, not just plain expectations. If we consider any other project, any other blockchain, we will first see it in production. We will first see 100 ICOs on it. So can you name me another like blockchain project with 100 ICOs, so at least one kitty is there? When we see that IOTA will handle something like kitties, so this would be a serious thing for us to consider. But you know, indeed Ethereum currently has problems, but they are solving them, and we have some time, and we have a plan B. In case they struggle solving the sharding or whatever other things, we can always handle the private blockchain of Ethereum with proof of authority, like consensus. So there are some options for us, and we still have time until I think April, because I think month around April would be a deadline for us to make a final decision, because from April we will have 2 or 3 months left until August, until we need a public release. So we still have a number of months to wait for the solutions and to see how it's going. So we will see. We currently consider different options, like namely the Plasma and the Etherium Network and the side channel things. We are closely looking for them, but
so we can stay on Ethereum and avoid this.
This is plan A. This is plan A, to stay on Ethereum and let it handle, because we are, you know, our primary goal is not developing another blockchain. We just want to use something the best that exists, and currently this is Ethereum. But talking about, you know, Ethereum is a blockchain, but there are crypto projects based on the DAG, like direct acyclic graph, and they're not really blockchains. And there are indeed some questions about their security and about the spread of the initial coins in such system. So there are still some questions for this kind of project. And if you see the top 10 projects on CoinMarketCap, most of them would be blockchain based, not the DAG. So let's see how it will be going. We still have a couple of months to make a decision. And we have a plan B.
Okay. It's nice to have a plan B.
Yes.
If SONM is partnering with enterprise storage companies for cloud-based solutions, then don't you think decentralization concept is at stake?
No, I don't think. Because if you are partnering with cloud-based companies, this is just a name, just a thing to say, just a word like cloud, because cloud companies, whatever the size is, they are joining the SONM network on the regular rights of a SONM supplier. And from the terms of the marketplace rights or from whatever other things, they are just one of the suppliers. And the suppliers are equal. And you as a customer, you have a freedom to select whatever supplier you like. If you like to purchase like hardware from a cloud company, you are free to do this, and this is the freedom you receive from the decentralizations. And what's important, we don't have a single like supplier, and we don't restrict you to selecting a single supplier, so you have the freedom, and this is about decentralization. If one cloud provider goes down, there are others, and There is a freedom of choice there.
Okay, there is no problem with partnering.
No problem.
Okay, nice. Yeah, question about far future. How will you found the project over the next 10, 15 years once ICO funds run out?
Sorry, what?
What are you gonna do after 10 years?
Oh,
After ICO, money
Yeah.
are over.
Yeah, well, it's like
So
years.
let me start. You can continue. So the main idea of all of these Q&A sessions is that we're building a marketplace and we're searching for customers that will pay SONM and pay our suppliers
yeah.
for their for renting resources. So if we build this market, there will be plenty of options to monetize it and to
yeah, indeed.
and to make some money for the team to continue development. That's obvious idea at the moment. The exact opportunity, the exact mechanism to get money to the team may vary, and we consider different options. But all of them will be implemented obviously after we start, not earlier than we start live network in August.
Yeah, the
Because
last question
there's
is for
nothing to.
Nostradamus. It's like we are not predicting any future and not forecasting 10 years. But when you guys think...
But back to the question.
Yeah.
So perhaps you notice the price of the Ethereum and of the other coins really rising times in the recent months. So you can imagine that the funds are still full. So we have a couple of years ahead full of funds, full of funding development. And as Eugene correctly mentioned, we are building the marketplace and we want to make it fair, as much fair as we can do this. And having it working gives us a number of solutions that we will evaluate later on how to monetize this, but I think we'll find a way to do this. And not to mention, we will eventually provide enterprise level services. I think this would be one of the ways. Another would be the market. And there are some other options that are not yet for public, but there are a lot of ideas. The only thing we care about is to provide a working product that people will use. If we have the client base, it should be fine.
Okay, but when there is a question from Twitter, and it's all about the financial stuff. Do you have a forecast about when you could have the first income from core business, and when you could get positive free cash flow?
I will not comment this, but we have two important points of time. First is the August of this year, when we
LeaveNet release.
Yes, we will release our system for public usage, and people will use marketplace to buy and sell resources. And another point of time is currently, I think these days, we are already attracting partners to work in the test network for real hardware and for real solutions with some off-chain payments. And this is already taking place and we are preparing for them. I think February or March would be the month where first people will use hardware in SONM and pay real money for it. Despite using the test tokens, they will pay some additional money outside of the system. So this is really close.
But Durant asked about fees that our team can receive.
We will not comment this because this is not yet settled.
Okay. Okay. Our audience singing a song in the chat. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. This kind of stuff.
Do we have any?
Yes, we have some questions.
Let's
we
do
have
this
some more.
quick.
Yeah, let's finish it.
Let's go from the first.
Can you tell us how many customers are using and supplying computer power right now?
The person who is asking this, he is perhaps not aware that we are currently only launched a test network, and this is just 3 weeks ago. So
yeah, but on the testnet we had already 50 top suppliers and 50 top customers, and this is a minimum that we got.
And you know, there was a news about Mining Union. You know, this is the first cloud company to be using SONM. On the practical case, they already settled a test rig for using with SONM with 6 GPUs, and this is a production mining rig that is earning money with the SONM. So this is the first practical case.
Eli Basser asks us on how the test month going. Eli, we already answered this question about half a year ago. You can go there and watch it, please. Do you have any new relevant customers who recently got interested in the future SONM marketplace?
You know,
no? Announcement he wants.
No announcement. No announcements.
You know, just a couple of days ago, when Camilo was just getting inside the business of what's happening around, we made a spreadsheet with a list of companies that we are currently making negotiation with, and part of them are suppliers and part of them are customers. And there was a list of 15 companies, 15. And the list of them we have announced as press release, and those are the companies we have already strong agreements. But there is, I think, about 10 companies that we are currently talking to. 10 companies, and this is quite a lot of companies and great interest for our project at this moment. And we just don't make any announcement until we have strong agreements and some practical examples. So just stay tuned, and we will disclose this.
Okay, thank you. How much was SONM.com domain? It's about
one SONM
price.
token.
Yeah, they sold it for 1 SNM. Believe us?
Yeah.
Good. CTO Igor Lebedev, one more question. It's for you. Will be some requirements on the internet speed a provider of computing power must have? Let's say consumer takes computing power from 2 providers at the same time. Then can you make it work in an efficient way? Will your servers be fast enough to provide solid fog computing to your consumers, since it depends on many different providers?
These particular questions and the similar questions about will the speed be enough or will something handle something, this is all. To answer all of these questions, you need to understand one simple thing. SONM is a marketplace, and this is a platform to connect suppliers and the customers. And everything that relates to the speed, will it handle or will it not handle, or 2 instances or 3 instances or whatever, this is on the application side. The application developer or application owner must ensure that this is working fine, and the marketplace simply provides what we have here. We have one supplier with a good internet speed, we have another supplier with bad internet speed. You can choose whatever you like, and if your software or application requires high internet speed with high latency, just choose the suppliers which ensure this. So just choose whatever you need, and this would be working. We provide a marketplace where you can find whatever you like, and we provide some activities to guarantee that whatever you buy would be provided. This would be something we will be working on, but everything else is up to application owners. It's how we say on the application side. Yeah, later on the later stages of development, like in the late 2018, we will think about this, but when we will develop the platform as a service. But currently, when we are working the infrastructure as a service, we just provide the resources. So for us, this would be either application approach or a later stage for development.
Okay, the complicated question. If a provider shut down his worker on purpose, and the customer do an important task on that case, what will happen in that case?
The supplier will lose its reputation, and next time we'll have problems finding a good customer and earning money. So this is about reputation.
And of course the payment will not go to the supplier, right?
This is the details.
Okay.
Anyway, the supplier doing this for a purpose will lose something, will lose a reputation and will lose money. There are details on how this will work, but he will lose a lot of things and he will not be motivated to do this. He will have incentive to behave in a good way, because in doing it good way, making sure that what you promise works, is a way to earn money, and this is about earning money. So we don't see any economical reasons for this. This is about it.
Okay, are you already working on the GUI, graphical interface for the marketplace, wallet and other products?
Wallet is released.
We already released the wallet,
Yes,
like in
yes.
December.
It's
already released, but it's
Everybody loves this wallet. If we talk about our team.
Yeah, but you can
So,
use the wallet for storing your tokens and
On test network.
on test network, of
Okay,
course, and it works. I've tried it, and you can add more accounts on it, and it works.
Vitaly
Yes,
tried it and
Yes.
it works.
works, and
That's
the
a-
design is
that's
good,
the-
and it looks beautiful.
One problem is currently for the test network, and I can tell you the priorities in the graphical user interface. Currently in January, if we talk about the wallet, we are doing some features. One of them would be an ability to work with Leaf Etherium Network. Another one is the ability to add custom Ethereum tokens. So with these two abilities combined, we see that our wallet would be really useful in practice, and I personally will use it because I use some Ethereum from time to time, and I think this wallet would be on the level that I will use it myself, and the team members that we talk with, all of them will use this for their own day-to-day usage. So the next step would be the development of profiles for identification and for other purposes. And the next step would be the market interface itself. So I think the February would be about profiles, and the March would be about the marketplace interface. Still, we have some issues and some questions to solve about the marketplace, since the MVP. Still some work to do before we will proceed to graphical user interface. So this is a second point in the list. The first point is the profiles. And the 0 point is the additional features in January.
We have a question from Twitter user Slana Patam. Your competitors use public roadmap where everybody could see progress in real time. It's like they have a board in Trello. It's a task manager, yeah.
I've seen it, yes.
Yeah, and you can see the real status of the development and this kind of stuff. Can we do the same, or are we going to do this now?
We have a roadmap which is, of course, is not as good as it could be. We don't use Trello, we use Jira first.
We use Trello, but for design
but not for development.
I know it. Okay, yes.
So just let me say this. First, the state of our bug tracker is currently a private information, and we are not disclosing it for some reasons. Second, whatever the scope we will announce in the public for the roadmap would limit us in the ability to change this. Because currently the roadmap that we have announced gives us some flexibility to change the decision on the go for whatever business needs we met and for whatever technical things we encounter. Because things here are changing very fast. We check the business, we check the client's needs, or we are doing practical things, and we face some problems. And if we just state the roadmap in the way as you mentioned an example, it will be harder for us to maintain this and to give promises. We will have questions: why did you change this? Why did you change that? Why didn't you do this? Because you promised it. This is not something we need at this moment. I think our roadmap of 3 or 4 points that we currently have is fine for us at this moment, because the rest is under research, under work, and we have some flexibility. I think this is fine for us. I don't see reasons to have such kind of roadmap as you mentioned in the example. at this particular moment. Perhaps at the later stages we can provide this when we have more things clear, more things designed already. But okay.
Actually, we prefer concentrate on business goals, not on technical goals, because some certain business goals can be achieved with different options, and we need to choose every time which options would be cheaper and faster to get.
And you know, to be honest, I know the roadmap that you mentioned on the Trello. I've checked it myself because people showed it to me, and personally, I don't think that this is clear. I don't find I don't find this roadmap as something clear, because I did not really understand what and how would be implemented. Yeah, indeed, there are a lot of points there, and they look nice. This is something that is looking nice, but I did not get a clear understanding of what is going on. So I don't think we need such a thing, because we have to maintain this, and this will not answer the questions. So it will only provide some, you know, some illusion of understanding, because this is not a real understanding. I'm a software developer and analyst, and I didn't understand what's going on with that roadmap. So I don't.
They can call the feature whatever they want, right?
You know,
and write whatever they want.
When you all will be able to mine iExec coins? It's not clear from that roadmap, for example.
This is not thing we should mention, but you know, this is not about understanding. The roadmap that you mentioned in the example as a good example, this is not a thing for understanding. This is a thing for creating a feeling that you understand something, but you really don't. This is it. I don't think we need this.
Okay. Last question from Slido. Is the use of SONM limited by the development of APIs on cocaine? How will people be incentivized to develop these APIs?
Cocaine at the end.
At the end, yeah. I feel you tired. I see.
We need some cocaine to discuss.
Okay. For people who is not aware, we are talking about Yandex Cocaine. This is a software project with a funny name, like related to strange things. But indeed, this has some meaning. But nevertheless, no, we are not limited to cocaine APIs, because we don't use them. We have completely rewrite everything we can, and at this particular moment, you will not find any code from the cocaine here, because we have rethink and rewrite everything. And by the way, the project that says they will use cocaine on practice for fork development and for decentralization, I don't think that this technology in its stock view can help them to make a decentralized solution, because it has some limitation. It works fine for central cloud solution if you have local servers, and if you can. I just don't want to talk this in deep, but it has limitations. I don't think we need to explain at this moment. It just won't work for the fork out of the box, and we rewrite everything we need for ourselves, and currently we have our own code and no limitations.
Yeah, by the way, the guys who are developing...
No, we don't need to talk about this.
Okay.
The question about testnet was answered about half an hour ago, not a year. And it seems like we ran out of questions. Guys, thank you for your question. Thank you for watching. And please subscribe on our channel. Give us a like if you don't like, if you like this.
Give us like
this session.
If you don't like it.
Subscribe on our channel to not miss anything. We will announce next Q&A session in February. Yeah, in our Twitter and Facebook and Telegram channels. Well, goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you.